Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube, and welcome back to Interlude 2 of Final Fantasy Chronicles of Eno. I am your host and game master, Skajarmas, otherwise known as Toneshift, and with me today we have the Interludes cast. We have Dalred playing Varl, our male Mithra monk.
Hello.
And this time I actually remembered to unmute, so yes, you were heard. I am looking at your audio meter right now.
Yay.
Yeah. Next up, we have Kenneth playing Kupog, our male Moogle Dragoon with dwarfism.
What's up?
Next, we have Lord Noctis, my brother, playing Zandel, a male half-Elvon red mage. David, that's the part where you're supposed to say hello.
I did, but my mic was muted. Hello.
I suspected as much. And last but certainly not least, we have Sam playing Katana, our female Galka Dark Knight with gigantism.
Oh.
So, where we last left off, this band of adventurers had set out aboard an airship bound for the northern oceans in search of a glacier upon which is said to be housed Shiva's ice crystal of light, to ascertain its exact location so that a certain other band of heroes can be directed towards it when they arrive at the Academy City of Enoma. All seemed to be going well at first, but in the midst of the morning, a foggy, misty morning, glaciers began to rain out of the sky upon the airship fleet, sending them careening down to the ground below in balls of fire. Zandel was quickly able to discern that these were conjured forth by a creature known as a frost behemoth, though this behavior was very strange for their kind, but nevertheless, it confirmed they were over solid ground. And so, in a string of events that I was not expecting, basically everyone except for Varl decided to jump off of the airship instead of staying on it as it fell. An interesting solution to the problem, but either way, the airship wound up crashing, and many people perished. But all the same, the party was able to discern the relative direction that the Frost Behemoth must have been in, and in a bid to ensure it couldn't bring down any more of the fleet or harm anyone else, and also possibly just for a bit of payback, they ventured out to find it, and soon found themselves working through an elaborate tunnel network woven into the seemingly natural pyramid of ice at the heart of the glacier. And as they worked their way through, they found these strange pedestals with eyes etched into their sides, pointing in different directions. They found a chamber with sleeping spiders that they noped right the fuck out of. And they solved all of my puzzles just like that, so I didn't get to throw any of the ice phantoms at them, but either way. Following all of that, they emerged back out into the open upon a cliff side, overlooking the rest of the glacier, its westernmost side, and up ahead, at the heart of this overlook, head lifted up high, brow infested with a cluster of amber crystals, was the Frost Behemoth, now known to have been corrupted into a demon. And where we last left off, the Behemoth had spotted the party and turned to engage them in battle. And so that is where we shall begin. As the Behemoth lumbers towards you, we shall enter combat. Everyone, it is your go first, as per the usual. How do you want to play this?
First I gotta remember that I gotta turn the music down because it's loud.
Yeah. And everyone make sure you
This
set
is
your music
a-
volume appropriately.
Pretty solid looking cliff we're on, right?
Yeah, it seems to be pretty solid.
I'm really thinking about dropping a comet on him.
I would like to go ahead and cast Zombie at it.
All right. That'll be a
Ooh.
slow action.
Oh, hold on. Yes, definitely do that.
All right. All right, well, so that's a slow action Katana is initiating.
So what is it? 3 short ranges is a medium range. Is that how that works?
Yes.
Okay. And a medium range is about what you can travel in one turn.
You can move a short range, is a standard movement action.
Okay.
So you could get about that far with a standard movement action before having to sacrifice the rest of your turn to move further.
I was needing to open up the rule book. To check something right quick. Ba-da.
I want to jump.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You jump. You're in the air, your turn ends immediately.
I'm going to
fine
cast
with this.
death on it.
Ooh. Okay, that is also... wait, no, wait, you have fast cast, so you can just do that.
Correct.
All right.
Now, the spell description says that the spell doesn't have an effect on bosses, but it immediately follows up by saying that if it has no effect, it does a certain amount of damage instead of killing it.
Sure, we'll go with that part, that you can still do damage even though it won't kill the behemoth.
Fantabulous. So...
I get a behemoth for a pet.
Alright.
It looks
What?
so cute. I'm not gonna lie.
Let me roll my damage real quick then.
I mean, it would make a pretty epic mount for Katana. Just saying.
It would.
Yes.
Um,
Now I do not have to fight with people to travel. No.
111. It has no elemental reaction to shadow. You discern.
Awesome. That does take a lot of my magic points to do, though.
Oh,
So-
question. If I cast a spell, am I still allowed to move?
You can move first, but once you've actually started casting a spell, your turn ends if it's a slow action.
Oh, okay.
Either way, first things first, really quick. Xandel, next to you, Katana sort of lifts her axe up into the air and it starts swirling and writhing and undulating with this shadowy blackened energy, and you recognize a zombie spell when you see it. And then you look to the behemoth and you swing your sword down, sort of carving open this little rift in front of you, and out of it flies this shadowy figure with a long scythe trailing behind it that flies right up to the behemoth and slashes for its neck. And while the scythe does pierce the skin and there's this spray of dark blood, the behemoth does not drop. It lets out this loud, bellowing roar and jerks its head to the side, one of its horns slamming into the Reaper that immediately vanishes in a swirl of black smoke.
Well, after that, Xandel will be going over here.
All right. All
Back
right.
to the wall.
And Varl.
So if I go and I sort of hide behind this pillar, can I set up Aura Bolt and then like turn around and fire it, or do I have to basically be looking at it to fire at it? I want to Aura Bolt it, but I don't want to be like right in its face.
Does Aura Bolt have a combo cost?
Aura Bolt is not a combo cost. No.
Okay, I'll say you will need line of sight to initiate and keep line of sight when it
Okay.
goes off. So you have to have line of sight the whole time. If it gets disrupted when if it's disrupted when your spell goes off, or your attack rather, it won't work. It'll miss.
Right. Okay. So I will be where I am then, and I am setting up for Aura Bolt.
All right. Okay, so that's everyone then. It is
Yep.
to the behemoth. Let's see here. Well, it is very unamused by you, Xandel.
But it was so charming. So what's he gonna do about it?
I'm thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
Fine.
This is fine. This is fine. We're not gonna die. It's okay.
Are you sure
You're
about
not
that?
gonna die.
We're gonna die.
Well, it doesn't actually have any ranged attacks.
What a loser.
That's good.
But it will come bounding over, and it basically now has you cornered, snarling down at you. Its breath reeks of rotting flesh and something even worse as it glares down at you, steam puffing out of its nostrils.
I give it a wave.
Bleh. All right, and
So
brings it back to the party, and the slow actions resolve, so let's go through them from left to right. So, Varl.
can I still hit it like, through there, or is this a?
As it is,
Are these things-
those are spikes rising up, so yeah, you can actually hit the behemoth through those.
Cool. Okay. So, Orbolt, roar.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, just to sort of help differentiate that, just so that it's not confusing in the future, I'm going to make them transparento.
Oh shit.
So that is. I need character sheet. That might be smart to have.
Probably a good idea, yeah.
Okay, so mind times twice level plus 2d6. All right.
Right, now, is that armor or magic armor damage?
That is holy magic armor damage.
All right. So, Varl, as you watch this thing go bounding towards where you know Xandel went running to sort of take cover, you're like, oh no, you don't. You fire off a beam of energy from your hands that's been charging for the last few seconds. It creates a sort of trench in the earth under it as it passes by and slams into the side of the behemoth, causing it to briefly stagger on its way towards Xandel, but the beast is not deterred and continuing its angry charge. And it's at about this point that Kupog lands. You come down, go ahead and make your accuracy check. $13? Yeah, that'll hit.
Sweet.
Damage.
Let's see. Was that this one? Is that? Would that be damage? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does
X,
damage. Not all.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I made a macro button. I couldn't remember if that was it.
Okay, so yeah. After the bolt of energy slams into its side, Kupog, you come down and bring your blade down onto its shoulder, your spear puncturing the flesh. But its skin is ridiculously hard and thick, and your blade gets kind of stuck before you have to sort of shimmy down it like a pole dancer and kick off. Because you're tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And then Katana, your zombie spell, goes off.
Remember, they get -4 to oppose.
Right, so this will be finesse. So roll your finesse, and then he'll roll his.
Oh, that is the wrong.
So he got a 13 in total.
That's cool.
Really good roll for him.
Shit.
Oof. Let me double check what the zombie spell does specifically, because I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, and my weapon does something. Because I
Zombie.
have- No.
Okay, yeah, no. That it
Vi-
does, it just
Virulent? Basically, if it Whenever the wielder of this weapon casts a spell that requires a successful opposed roll, they may deal power times half level of non-elemental MR damage if they fail the roll.
Okay. So you still do some damage then. Power times half level non-elemental magic armor. So it'll be your power times 4.
48.
48 plus, so yeah, just 48 in general then.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Alright, so. Katana, you sort of point the head of your axe at the behemoth, and there's a swirl of necrotic energy around it, but it sort of looks down, slams its front paws down onto the ground. There's a shockwave that gets kicked up, and the shadowy energy just disperses around it. But at the same time, you do see a few lacerations and little eroded spots sort of form on its skin around its shoulders and wrists.
Am I allowed to move now?
Yes, you now have a full action, a full turn.
Okay, cool. I'll just go up.
All right.
Good. And I will. Where is my stupid list? There it is. Yeah, I'll do Night Sword.
All right. Night
It's an
Sword.
instant action, once per combat. Next attack gains HP drain, lucky, and zombie touch weapon properties.
Okay.
And I can target from long range.
All right. Nice. So HP drain, lucky, and zombie touch. You said.
Yep.
Okay. Make an attack roll.
And then everything else on my weapon.
Yeah.
Was it 2d6 plus power plus
Accuracy. ACC.
accuracy? Yeah. 14.
That'll hit. Shit.
Okay. Now I don't know what lucky and
Lucky means that your critical range is improved by 1, and when you roll your damage, if you want to try and apply zombie with this melee attack, you would have to declare that, and it would cause your physical damage to be halved, but you would have a chance to try and impose zombie on this thing.
Sure.
All right. So whatever damage if you're wanting to apply zombie, whatever damage will be halved. So go ahead and roll it.
$42, so 21.
Alrighty.
Do I have
So-
to do a
Then-
again?
Give me a second. Thanks to his armor score, that is 1 point of damage you just did.
It's still
Jeez.
damage.
Now, he needs to make his opposed force check against you because you're trying to impose zombie via melee attack. And his force is a lot higher than his
Do I
finesse.
still have to roll finesse?
You also have to roll force. You're trying to impart it physically rather than magically.
Oh, force. Awesome.
So his force is a lot higher than his finesse.
Damn it!
No. A pity. So, well, you're at max HP, so HP drain doesn't matter. But either way, you sort of bring your axe forward. It's once again crackling with that necrotic energy, and you sort of try and impart something onto it, but the behemoth just kind of knocks the attack aside with its horn again. You knock a little chip out, but it doesn't really do anything.
Really pissing off that I can't do any fucking status.
Well, I mean, end bosses tend to have really high force and finesse, making it difficult to do that to them. So,
Speaking of which, after landing, you said I get a full normal turn, right?
yes, at the conclusion of a slow action, you get a full normal turn. We generally rule it that you can't use jump immediately on the turn you landed, though.
Yep. So, can I smack him and attempt to blind and poison him?
Sure. Go ahead and make your accuracy roll first.
Which is this.
13 again.
13. Yep, that'll hurt.
So then it's half damage, and
Just-
then
just roll your regular damage. I will half it and do the numbers accordingly.
Okay.
All right, so that winds up coming out to 13 damage. But now he has to make 2 opposed force checks against you, although unfortunately he doesn't suffer the -4 that he does with Katana because you don't have that.
Okay.
So
Force.
so poison first, right?
Blind and then poison.
Okay, blind. You're off by 10 on that one, boy.
Yeah.
You might have a chance on this one, though. Oh, okay.
So he's poisoned.
That he is. Okay. So, he doesn't have an immunity to it. So, after this moment of sort of everyone sort of starting to gang up on him, you give your thing that I can't remember the name of, your Naginata, a little spin and give a quick little series of short little jabs, one to try and blind. You miss with that one, only sort of scraping the tip of his nose, but after another quick spin, you bring the Naginata around into a backwards thrust into its shoulder, and immediately you can see this spreading of poison from its shoulder, and it roars in rage.
And unless Zendel has something, I'm gonna punch it. Not 9.
Yeah, no, that does not hit. You go for a punch, and its tail just kind of smacks you in the face, and you back up a bit.
Now, I think Zandel is going to cast Ruse on himself.
Okay. Which does?
So Ruse is a very lovely spell. What it does is that it makes it... The way it reads, it says, the caster's outline shimmers and blurs, making it difficult to determine their exact location. So I get a +2 bonus to my avoidance until combat ends, and if I'm ever below half my hit points, it gets a +4 instead.
All right. Nice. So yeah, Zendel, you sort of look up at this thing looming over you, roaring angrily as your newfound companions start to wail on it from the side, and you're like, you sort of slap a hand over your chest, and the rest of you kind of see Zendel start to blur and flicker a bit in place. You still have a movement action, I do believe, my man.
Yeah, so... is he facing like towards the rest of the party since they are going all in on him right now?
He's starting to rotate that way, but he's still largely facing you.
I don't like that. I wish he would stop. I'm gonna try to sneak around onto his other side.
Okay. All right, so yep, you move that way. Well enough. Sort of pushing your back up against the wall and sort of starting to shimmy. And I do believe that is everyone. So it is to the Behemoth. So, the Behemoth is going to use its movement action to use rear up. And you watch as it rises up onto its hind legs with this ominous... It now stands solidly double the height it was at, as it's now on its hind legs. And it is going to use... let's see here. It's going to use Deafening Roar to attack everyone in a short range. Because it's an asshole.
Is this physical damage?
This will be physical damage, yes. Pretty sure no one dodges that.
Avoidance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Alright, so
I gotta roll. Do I have to roll for it?
For what?
I don't know.
He's
against the
attacking
wrong
against
one.
our. Yeah, he's hitting all of us and hitting against our avoidance, so we don't roll anything. He's just hitting us.
Yeah.
And it's
That's.
rude of him.
I mean. That's always going to hit.
Yeah. Yeah. Dodging isn't really all that common when you start getting into the higher levels. Attacks tend to just hit. Okay, let's start doing armor calculations, because that's based on armor. Varl, your armor, please.
My armor is 0.
All right, so you just take 127 points of damage. Kupog.
Me.
Yes, the Moogle. What is your armor score?
Did you hear me?
I did not, apparently.
20.
20, so that's 170 you. I'll go ahead and apply that real quick. Nice. Katana.
35.
That's 92 to you.
Okay.
And Zandel.
12.
That's 115 points of damage to you.
I feel pain.
And I also need everyone
you
who is
said
hit. Yes?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and I also need everyone who is hit by that to make a force check against him, as he's causing a short-range knockback on everyone with that.
12.
Horse.
15.
17.
All right.
Holy.
So the only one who gets it is Kenneth, because critical success, because the Behemoth rolled an 18 there. So, reared up onto its hind legs, the Behemoth tilts its head back and looses this mighty, deafening roar. Your ears ring as this powerful wind blasts out from its feet, and y'all get knocked back a full short range. So, while you're there,
Can I-
Kenneth,
Can I get a counter before I get knocked back?
Sure. And Zandel, you kind of just get pushed into the wall a bit.
Does it like crack and break to make a crater in it?
Give me a second, and I will show you what you have done to it.
Oh, lovely.
Because I can just modify these maps on the fly to accommodate for battle damage. You just kind of made a hole in it.
Fantastic.
A 15 to hit?
Yep.
Yep. Also, really quickly, I'm just going to draw on the trench you made earlier with your aura bolt, because I can, and I like battle damage. All right, so 15 will indeed hit. And then
56.
so that becomes 36 once his armor is applied. So
And then I
as-
get one.
Yep, so as this wave of wind is sort of blasting everyone back, you're like, "Ugh," and he manages to sort of jump up and sort of deliver an upwards kick to its chin before the wind carries you back to where you land. It hurt, but you're still on your feet. Has the math been applied to you yet, Darad?
No.
Oh, okay, well, so you took the full 127. Let me just apply that real quick. I thought you had applied it.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So,
Yeah.
so that was the Behemoth's turn. He can do nothing more. So it's back to the party.
I am going to cast regen on myself.
Ooh. Okay. Oh wait, hold on a second. I totally forgot about the poison. I need to do something with that really quick, because that's that's empoisoned. Okay, there we go. I've done the poison damage.
Does a limit break happen again?
You can either expend 3 destiny to use a limit break, or when you get a critical hit, 125% of your max HP.
Okay.
Hey, okay, so are there opportunity attacks in this game?
There are not.
Getting the fuck out from there. After casting my regen spell.
All right, now go ahead and give you a nice little, nice green tint, so we can remember that you're regenning. Well, as per usual, I'll have it last for 4 rounds.
And with my turn ending, I get 20% of my max hit points back.
Is it at the end of your turns or the starts?
Ends.
Oh, okay. All right, so yeah, 20%, 1/5. So you get back 51 HP.
So I would like to use Lancet.
Okay.
So that's a standard attack roll with accuracy, right?
I believe so.
15.
Yeah, but 15 hits.
Okay. My cool cheat sheet with all my abilities in one non-scrolling place was lost with my PC rebooting.
Oh no.
Mind times weapon tier plus random. Okay. To something like that.
All right, let me double check, see what type of damage type that is. Okay, so that's still armor-based damage, so that winds up being negated down to 8 because of its armor score. But either way, that 28 is restored to everyone's HP and MP, right? Or half of that. Let me double check.
Recover HP and MP equal to this value.
So yep, everyone gets back 28 HP and MP.
Oh, nice.
Also, David, did you give yourself back the 51?
I did.
Okay. All right, now let's see here. So, Dara, did you just apply the 28?
Yeah, I just applied the 28.
And, Sam?
Is that 28 to my health?
Yeah. And your MP.
Okay, I applied it.
Plus 28. It looks like you removed.
Oh. I asked if it was damage.
I'm sorry, you were quiet. I couldn't hear you.
No, my Lancet ability does different kind of damage and then heals everyone's health and mana that much.
Yeah. So you get 28 back on top of what you had before. So just
Did Zendel go up on mana?
Yeah, he was at like 10 a second ago, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you adjust
So-
my health?
No, I have not done that yet.
Okay.
Just,
Also, I put a random green dot on my character. Go away.
So,
Kenneth deleting his
here-
doodlings? What madness is this?
I didn't
here's a
mean to
quick-
draw a green boogie, okay?
A green boogie.
Intentional
So-
madness is intentional.
so here's a quick question. Can I get back to him because short range, right?
Yeah. If you're within 0.3 of a short range, that usually means you're in melee range. By my estimate.
Okay. So here's a quick
From the
question. What
center
does it mean
from the center of your token, by the way.
Right. So what does it mean for an attack to have +1 damage step?
It increases the multiplier on it by 1.
Times 5 instead of times 4. That kind of
Yeah. Damage steps
Okay.
just means multiplier.
I'm gonna run up here and I'm gonna smack
Okay.
14.
14 hits.
So I am going to do Sovereign Fist
Ooh. That's a good one.
using 3 chain points, which I have 3 of.
Nice.
I am going to smack, and Sovereign Fist is deals an additional damage step and ignores all armor, protect, and unusual defense. Ignores all of it.
Nice. Well, so I'm going to go ahead and change the music.
So normally mine's 12 times 4, so 12 times 5 because plus 1 damage step.
So it'll be
Right.
60. And you said it ignores armor and magic armor?
Ignores all forms of defense.
So that's just a straight 64 points of damage to this bugger. Gotcha.
Yep.
Alright, so you come charging in, the swirl of reddish light lights up around your fist, give out this angry lion-like shout and punch in the side of its shoulder, and it slides a bit, leaving these trenches in the ground where its paws dig in a bit to hold it.
The only one that hadn't win is Katana, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of what stupid shit I can do. Because I can't.
Just snap off that giant icicle and poke it with it.
Well, the thing is, this thing
If you
absorbs
if you want to
shadow,
be fancy,
doesn't it? Because he has that shard in him.
No, he has no elemental reaction to shadow one way or the other.
So can he take shadow damage?
Yes, he did earlier when David cast death on him.
It's neutral, not negated.
Yeah. He doesn't take more, he doesn't take less, he just takes the flat shadow damage, and then his magic armor's applied, normally.
What? Fine. Where's my innate shit? There. Okay, good. This is not once per combat. I'm going to use Dark Side.
Ooh, hell yeah. How much does that require again? 20%? 25%?
25% of my health.
So your HP is
Ooh.
reduced by 89.
Mm-hmm.
You all kind of watch as Katana sort of lets out this, her own little sort of angered, banshee-like scream, and this shadowy energy falls all around her, and when she snaps open her eyes, they're burning like fiery coals. And her whole body sort of crackling with blackish energy.
Gonna go up to him and just gonna hit him.
Okay.
Oh. 11.
Given he is up on his hind legs, yeah, that will hit, because when he used rear up, his avoidance was decreased by 2 for the duration of the effect. So yeah, that'll hit.
36. What does this do? This damage increased by an additional 3. So basically, it gets an additional 3 attacks, my weapon.
3 damage
though it-
steps, yes.
So, on top of my 3?
So that'll become 6 damage steps, so a multiplier of 6.
72. Okay. 82.
Alrighty. So you all see Katana go charging in, radiating shadowy energy, and brings her big-ass axe across and strikes into the side of the behemoth's head. It gets caught on the horn, but bites deep into it. And the behemoth goes sliding a good few inches this way from the force of the blow.
Xandel is alarmed by this.
Indeed. Let me see here. I need to do some maths again. Alright, so he takes more poison damage as the poison that was applied to him by Kupog continues to worm its way through his system. He is under half HP. So he falls back onto all fours. And then he looks up into the sky, his orange eyes turning this icy blue. And he is going to use his limit break by expending all of his destiny.
Ah, shit.
oh,
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Monsters have limit breaks. What the heck?
Bosses and end bosses do. Notorious enemies can have them too sometimes.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that it is. And the worst part is
Jump on
this
his back.
and this counts as an automatic hit too, because you know, limit breaks. They don't tend to miss.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
This green token I have that's 4 out of 4. What is that?
That is the duration of your regen.
Okay.
Anyways, so, this is gonna hurt.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ow, ow.
I'm still up. I'm still up.
So this is magic armor damage.
Shit. I'm not up.
Okay, so one at a time. Zendel, are you up? What is your magic armor?
25.
25. You take 201 points of damage. You are up.
Yeah, barely. I have 2 hit points.
Varl.
I am not okay.
Varl, you just take the whole shebang, so you're at 136. Because, ow. Kupog, your magic armor, please.
10.
You take 216 points of damage. You are down to 41.
It's just a flesh wound.
And Katana.
What kind of damage is this?
Magic armor, and it's ice elemental.
Oh, okay. 15 for my armor.
That's 211.
I have a phoenix down. Does that kick off?
No, you actually have to use it, so Katana is KO. Someone else will have to run over to you and use it, or use one of theirs. Either way. Now. So, the Behemoth looks up into the sky, its orange eyes flaring blue, and you all look up as this horrible crackling, frosty sound emerges, and you look up, and there's a glacial meteor just flying down at you, and you're like, ah, shit! You quickly lift your arms up to shelter yourselves, and it strikes the heart of the battlefield. Katana gets flung against a wall and then collapses in a crumpled heap, very unconscious. Zendel, you kind of get slammed into here. Varl, you go sliding right underneath the Behemoth and wind up where Zendel was a minute ago. And Kupog, you kind of go spiraling through the air, and you wind up over here somewhere.
This is
Wee.
just goes for a little flight real quick.
Yep.
I'm used to
The
it.
Behemoth touches back down.
What kind of action is it to use Phoenix down?
It's either a movement action or a standard action, and you have to be right next to the person you're using it on. Same is true for most consumables.
Okay. You said this thing is close to dead?
He is under half. The poison is making sure of that.
From a slightly from an out of character standpoint, Sam, would you prefer to try to save Katana, or can I go limit break? Because if I go limit break, I can hit this thing awful hard.
But what happens if I don't get up this round? Am I just out?
The Behemoth only needs a standard action to kill you if it feels so inclined to do so. But otherwise, you're not at any risk of immediate perishing. Being KO doesn't mean anything unless there's a notorious enemy or stronger to actually kill you. You can't die without one of those. This game is very forgiving where death is concerned.
So she's basically not going to just spontaneously die without getting hit.
She's not going to bleed out, but if the Behemoth feels so inclined, then when its turn comes back around, it could just rip her apart. So
Would be
Yeah.
bad.
I can't have a say in this.
Well, I was speaking from an out of character. If you
Again, I can't have a say of this, Dalrid.
Fair enough.
It
Fair
is
enough.
what your character does.
All right. Yeah. Varl sees that Katana is down. She's tough, but bleeding out is not a thing in this game, so he's not necessarily worried about this of her just dying. Varl's going limit break.
All right, so you expend 3 points of destiny.
Yep.
Lion charge.
Do I still have to swing?
No, this just hits.
Okay. So, Varl's limit break.
Lion charge, we called it.
Lion charge. As was the rather apt description via Brian, fiery orange light erupts around Varl, a lion-like roar tearing from his lips as he charges, fist outstretched to lay his enemies to waste. Varl is just basically going to, like, almost Pokemon Mega Punch. Boom!
One
With orange light.
punch!
Yeah. So 2 damage steps. So times 6, not 4.
Indeed, and I've already done the math. It'll also do an additional 189.
It is difference between max and current.
Yep, and I already did the math on that. It becomes 189 in total, because isn't like half of that?
I have 136 health. Difference between max and current would not be.
It says equal
that.
to half the difference.
Oh, right. So,
Eh.
sorry.
Yeah, I ran the numbers there. 514
Okay, so
minus
plus
136 is 378. Divide that by 2, you get an additional 189 points of damn.
Okay, so that is 12 times 6 plus the 2d6 plus the 189. So 82 plus 189 minus this 20 armor.
Alright, give me a second here. I'm running numbers. So that is a total of 251 points of damage.
Damn.
So yeah,
Yes.
as Dard said, Varl erupts with this orangish energy, fiery red. A lion-like roar escapes him. He lunges forward and punches the behemoth right in its side of its ribs. And you watch as its chest actually compresses inwards, leaving this sort of physical crater in its side from the force of the blow. There's this powerful shockwave that gets kicked out from the force of the punch. And the behemoth goes sliding over here from the force of it, letting out this agonized roar, and you can see blood flying out of its mouth and nose as it sort of retches on the ground a few times, and you can tell its ribs are fucked from that.
And for what it's worth, everyone but Katana, because she's unconscious, gets a +2 bonus to their AC and avoidance, just because.
Until the start of Aro's next turn, so yeah.
Because that was awesome, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm digging this limit break idea. I think maybe I'm gonna do the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's usually how this works. You get near the end of a fight and you just start popping limit breaks when the shit hits the fan.
It's very Final Fantasy.
It is. Just as a brief fun aside, in the main campaign, my characters there, we designed their first limit breaks in advance, independently. I didn't tell anyone else that we were designing limit breaks. I just went to them one-on-one and helped them do their limit breaks in secret. And then during the final boss of the first arc, I just told them, with like the seriousness of the situation as the big final boss of the arc was coming up, they all had their limit breaks unlock in that tense final moment. So, and they just went ham. They unleashed just. It was like an end game finishing move or something.
Yep.
Just like deja vu. Giorno's theme starts playing. Anyways, carry on.
So my limit break is called Soul Drain. And the way it works is that Xandel will reach his hands forward and you'll watch as an ethereal stream of energy is ripped out of the behemoth and into him. As this happens, you see his injuries heal, and he gets progressively more and more perky, while the behemoth seems to wither and age and grow weak.
All right, so that'll be power times 5 plus 2d6 non-elemental damage.
72.
Alrighty. Which becomes 57. And so, 57. Let's see.
Then I get 150% of that damage's health back. And 50% is MP.
So let's see here. So I believe that means you get back 85 HP.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. No, actually, hold on. Because, like, yeah, it's 85. And then your MP is half of that 57.
Oh,
So 28 MP back.
perfect.
And,
And then with my turn ending, regen should kick in, and I get hit points back for that.
you do. 51.
Yep.
All right, so after Varl's punch, Zandel sees the behemoth flying back, and he's like, I can dig this. He sort of reverses his grip on his sword, holds out his free hand, and wisps of light begin pouring out of the behemoth and into his hand, and the behemoth is just screaming and shouting in rage as more and more energy is drawn out of it. It is not a happy creature.
Now, to be fair, he did limit break us first, so I don't feel bad.
Kupog,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
So, my limit break is more about dealing with an army than a one-man army. So, I think I'm going to use my points of destiny for something a little more interesting.
Oh, what are you doing?
So, let me bring it back up. So, I am going to activate Dragonheart.
Ooh.
Costs 3 destiny. I become a Dragon Moogle. My race becomes Dragon, so apparently a slew of things changed that I don't mechanically know what that is. But I am now a dragon instead of a dragon as a race instead of humanoid.
Okay,
I
let's
am
see.
immune to fear, curse, and seal. I cannot be knocked back. My threaten becomes an AoE, and whenever I drop to 0 HP or below for any reason, I have a 50% chance of it being 1 HP instead. And I have auto life.
Nice.
Dear Lord.
Okay.
So the tiny little Goku just spontaneously turns into a dragon.
So you all watch
So
as Kupog sort of glares at the behemoth, reaches up and pulls down the visor on his helmet. I hope you don't mind if I sort of take over here for a second because I have a cool image
You're
of how
good.
this could be. He pulls down the visor on his draconic helmet and it clacks into place, teeth right coming down from the edges like visors. And the second it does, the eyes on the helmet light up red, and immediately there's this swirl of dark blue and reddish energy around him. And from inside, you hear this tiny little. The energy parts as these big-ass dragon wings, relative to Kupog's body size, flare out, and the furry bits of him that are still sticking out of his armor are now far more angled and sharp and covered in scales. As this sort of crimson energy is radiating off of him in droves, just creating a mist around him.
So that's an instant action.
That is an instant action, so you can still do the rest of your shit.
So I would like to run all up in his business,
Okay.
fearlessly, directly in his face, like directly. He's going to have to, not that it would be difficult to overlook me. He's going to have to look past me to, you get the idea. I'm like all up under him right there.
All right.
And I want to smack him as hard as I can with half damage for renewing annoyance.
All right. Go for it.
And so that is with a +2 from the other limit break, yes?
Do you have the destiny to use another limit break?
No. Varls. Doesn't that give us a +2 on accuracy and avoidance?
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I was thinking about damage steps. Yeah, your accuracy will get a bonus.
So 13.
That'll hit, considering his own avoidance has been dropped to 11 until his next turn. Ah, shit, hold on. His HP spontaneously returned. Give me a second. Ah! I made a modification to his numbers and hit save changes, and it led to a problem. Anyway, so yeah, you hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay. So this would be halved.
Of course. So taking his armor into account, that becomes 13 points of damage.
Yep. And then it would be 2 force checks, right?
Yes.
And does me being dragon as a race do anything other than, like, not just shadow resist or weakness or whatever?
In a more long-form campaign that's trying to stick a bit closer to the rules, it would like change like your HP values and a lot of other shit. We don't have time for that right now, though, to try and figure that out, because I kind of forgot you took that ability, so we didn't have time to make up a modified cheat to accommodate for that, so we'll just say no.
Okay. So force checks.
Yep, 2 of them. Which one?
I've been going in the order of the weapon as it's written. So blind 14.
9.
And then poison 16, which is almost a crit.
9.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
you still give him a nice little slice across the cheek, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like it fully takes.
That's perfectly fine. I am snarling. I am directly under him, in front of him. And at the end of my turn, I passively heal 20% of my health.
Oh, because you're so low on HP, right? Because one of your
Bingo.
accessories is SOS regen.
Yes.
So you re-get 67 hit points. That might save you.
I'm not worried.
Well, either way, the Behemoth is going to not take kindly to you getting between it and the person who Mega Punched it and the downed prey. And so, it is going to use Rear Up again, rising up onto its hind legs and thus increasing its accuracy and damage while decreasing its avoidance. And it will use Mighty Claws on you.
Bring it on.
So that is a 19 to hit.
I will hit, yes.
Alrighty. So his damage is increased a couple of steps thanks to him being on his hind legs, and this is his heaviest hitting melee attack, so that's 187 points of damage before armor calculation, which is...
It would be enough to drop me. Keep in mind, he's going to take some damage from my heavy bad touch armor.
Alright.
So that is force times half level, and this ignores armor and defense and all of that.
Right, and don't you also have another thing that also damages him, the Whirling Spear?
Yes. So force times half level, 5 times 4 would be 20 from the armor.
Okay.
And then from Whirling Spear...
It was like
which
50
again,
something in total for both of them, wasn't it?
I think so. It is finesse times level, which is 4 times 8. So 32, so 52 total. So he takes a passive 52. That ignores all reduction.
Yep, and now we need to do the 50% of you being at 0 or 1, so we'll roll 1d6. If it's 3, 2, or 1, you are out. If it's 4, 5, or 6, you are up.
Sounds good.
You are at 1 HP.
Yep.
Nevertheless, you all watch as the Behemoth rears up onto its hind legs, and just slams a claw into Kupog with incredible force, sending him careening way over here.
I'm fine with this.
Like, you can see Kupog kind of hover in the air for a second, look like he's about to drop before shaking his head and regaining his cool. And it is back to the rest of you.
Okay, quick question.
Yes.
Upon use of Phoenix Down, does Katana get her turn?
Yes.
Varl's doing that.
All right, so while you run over and you spend your whole turn to quickly prize out a Phoenix Down, use it on Katana, and she is brought back into the fight at 1 hit point. So you are in a fuck ton of pain, but you are awake.
We're birds of a feather.
Varl sort of uses the Phoenix Down and then looks up at Katana as she slowly like gets to one knee or rises or however, and he's like he's cackling with orange energy from the residue of his limit break, and he's on his last leg. Get him.
Question.
Yes.
She went down when she was in that angry state, right?
Yeah, that only lasts for 1 round. The dark side is worn off.
Well, yeah, I know that. I was just saying, like, would she come back and just kind of act angry?
Sure, yeah, if you want to. You can flavor that if you want.
Oh yeah, did he take poison damage at the end of his turn?
Yeah, like, he looks like he's about to drop.
Yeah. Okay.
I personally agree to let
So-
Katana get him because you only really need 1 more solid hit and this fucker's going down. Because fucking poison!
Mm-hmm.
This is the moment when
Okay,
Katana does her
I'm-
limit break.
That would be the bit that would make sense thematically.
Yeah, I know.
Unless it would kill her because dark. But anyway,
What?
I don't know if you have any attacks that like deal damage to yourself to make you deal stronger damage or something.
Yes.
That's dark
Just
side,
yes
but
to
that's
that.
not.
Right.
Potions. Explain how those work.
A regular potion will restore 25% of your max HP, consuming either a movement or standard action, your pick at the time of consumption. High potions will restore 50%. X potions will restore 75%.
Shit.
I mean, your limit break, I don't think, requires any HP from you.
Actually, it has a 25% chance of backfiring.
I could cast the cure spell on you. I just need to look
Oh,
that up
it's
real quick.
It's almost dead.
Hmm.
Only I'd have gotten like a Mega Phoenix down or something.
All the golden level 3 wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, really.
That's great. Fine. I'll do it. I'll do
Alright.
it.
Alrighty. So, I suppose the first thing we should do is roll that d4, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Alright. Roll it.
Oh, I get to
Is
roll
it
it?
a 1 or a 4 that will backfire?
On a 1, it'll backfire. Does not backfire. Alright. Your damage on this, please, just because we want the numbers.
Let's see. it
Also, so
gets
we know how much
increased-
you get healed for.
Yeah, the thing gets +2 to my attack. I couldn't attack. No, I didn't call it. Never mind. have been so much better. So 12 times 5, 60. It ignores all types of armor.
Yep, so you regain 35 HP and MP from that. How do you want to do this?
Really?
It had 8 hit points.
Aw. It's just
What was the description on Katana's limit break?
The description reads, Katana charges a single enemy with a vicious war cry, shadowy energy radiating off of her form. The earth beneath her feet trembles as her axe swings and cleaves into her foe's flesh, tearing blood and soul free in a spray of crimson light.
I feel like she jumps because she's huge. So if he jumps and
No.
cleaves its head
no,
too.
no,
I don't know.
no.
Okay.
I'm just dropping him down to 0 HP. So
You're killing him, so
no, 0.
which is dead for NPCs and monsters. Unless you're wanting to knock him unconscious for some reason.
Well, yeah, whatever. He's dead.
Okay.
Fine.
I mean, if you want to go for non-lethal damage, you may. I just wasn't expecting that.
No, it's just I have an ability called Soul Eater that allows me to do a death blow
Oh, yeah. Okay.
afterwards. So
Oh, yeah,
it would
okay.
require him to be at 0 hit points, but
Oh,
it's
yeah,
fine.
okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. That works.
He's dead. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So, yeah. Do you want to describe how you end his life, or shall I?
Go ahead.
All right, so Varl, after you get Katana back up and she sort of lifts herself back up, she glares at the behemoth that's starting to look like it's about to drop. And it's like you can see like its body starting to corrode and dissolve away from the poison eating at it. And she's like, "Oh, I don't think so. This one's mine." Lifts up her axe and charges, coming up right underneath it, like she's like at eye level with its eyes because 12 feet tall. And like for a brief moment, it and her make eye contact before she takes her axe in both hands and just gives this mighty upward swing into its throat from the side. And there's this spray of blood and shadow and little tiny shards of orange crystal as the blade of her axe sears upward cleanly through the bottom of its throat and out the back, sending its head flying off and the rest of its rapidly dissolving and melting body slumping off to the side in a big, mulchy puddle.
Goop augers.
Yeah, it's all gross what you just said, right?
Yeah, I know. Your point?
All right. No, that's all.
I wasn't aiming for, anything that wasn't. Because,
And
it was poisoned. It was already in the process of dissolving, so it just seemed to make sense,
Varl's just like on one knee over here against the wall.
Yeah. So, if you'll give me just a second here. There is one thing I kind of wish to do. It'll take me a second to do it. There we go.
Yay.
So, let's see here. For that, everyone will receive 3 points of destiny for defeating an end boss.
Hey.
Nice.
Matters to us not.
Indeed. And
I added it anyway.
just as a fun little tidbit, just so you guys know how much that poison saved your ass, the sucker had 2,000 hit points at max.
That's quite a few more than I would have guessed, actually.
It took 400 points of damage at the start of all of its turns. That poison saved you guys. All right.
That's a lot of damage. Nice. All right.
MVP, most valuable poison.
All right. So yeah, in short order, Zendel, your regen effect gets you back up to full before it sort of fades away.
Once more, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yep.
Zendel doesn't even look like he's been in a fight.
I mean, you definitely look like you've been in a fight, but you also look like you've been healed up very nicely.
Hmm.
I like that one better.
Anyway,
I would
Brian goes on-
theoretically heal 40% of my health.
Yeah, you do.
Because I'm under a quarter, plus 20% would still be under a quarter.
Right.
so is the shards that we were looking for this thing like off to the side somewhere?
You mean the amber shards that were in its head?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still embedded in its brow, which we'll say its head landed somewhere over here. I'll just draw it in on the map as a big gore spot. Because, you know,
Lovely.
blood.
I bound up on top of it as I strike a pose, and I'm just like, Coopers.
God damn it.
Varl will sort of make his way over here. Sort of give a passing nod to Katana, knowing that she is probably can pretty well handle herself, but it's a nod of like, we did it, and a congratulatory thing, and then make her way over to said skull, I guess, or head.
Yeah, it's the
Not a
full
skull
head.
yet.
Yeah, the full head.
Can I see the crystal, like,
You,
popping out? Or
yeah,
is it,
you
like,
you can
embedded?
yeah you can see a few shards of amber crystal sticking out of its brow. The
So can
glow
I,
in
like-
them steadily flickering and fading.
I was going to say, if we have to collect them, can I use my weapon to sort of pry it out?
Well, I mean, these aren't what you're here to find.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Yeah. You guys are here to locate, not collect, the ice crystal of light, which doesn't look like that. That's amber.
Gotcha. I need to
Yeah.
do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's not what we were looking for.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
not. Yeah, you were going after the behemoth not because it had what you wanted, but because it was an imminent danger to the rest of the fleet and to you if it decided to follow up. Hold up a second, my alarm's going off. My apologies, my alarm is now off. Sorry about that.
Okay, so is everybody okay? More or less.
Yeah.
Kupog
We all seem to be breathing.
Question. Up at the very top of the map, is that a hallway?
That is a pathway leading higher up the slopes of the pyramid, yes.
Okay.
Seems like a way to go, doesn't it?
I would say so.
I
I'm
walk
gonna down
around
a
and press A on everything in the room before ending up at the north side of the wall.
I'm gonna go jump against this wall until I glitch to the end of the game.
God. Fucking damn it.
Laurel's gonna down a health potion and make his way this way.
Ooh, restoratives. That's a good idea. I'm gonna use an ether.
All right. Well, as you are drawing up towards that particular...
Question.
yes?
Can my character just take a piece of amber?
If you want.
Sure.
Go ahead and make a scavenge check to harvest one without destroying it. Because the shit's embedded in there. You kind of got to surgically remove it.
Ah. Okay.
Like, it's growing through the skin. It's like growing all over the brain like the cordyceps from The Last of Us.
10?
10. You don't get a particularly big piece, even by the standards of
fine.
non-giants, but like you get like a piece that's like a few inches across. You kind of
That's fine.
prise it free.
Tucks it away. Follows.
She eats it.
Yeah, that would be a terrible idea. Anyways. All right, so I don't actually.
That's for Interlude Part 3.
Yeah, great. I have an
What?
excuse now. Nothing. Anyway, so you all make your way up the path at the northern end of the route. I don't have a map for where you guys are going because there are no more combats to be had. That was the final boss of the whole thing. You make your way up, and eventually you make your way up onto another ledge. And as you're sort of looking around, trying to figure out where you're going and what you're doing, you hear... Actually, roll awareness checks, everyone.
Oh boy.
And for purposes, I'll take us back to the title screen because we have no more big maps to go to.
9.
9.
9.
14.
All right, Zandel's the one who notices.
Uh-oh.
As you're sort of working your way up, you briefly pause and look back as a sound reaches your ears that you weren't expecting to hear.
Oh.
Takes you a second before you sort of look back, and you see jumping down from one of the nearby ledges, the cliffs that are overlooking these platforms you're on, a enormous frosty wolf that comes to a landing and looks your way.
Yeah,
There's your
we
mount.
appear to have a guest.
There's your mount, Katana.
It looks
Hold
you
on,
all
I'm
over
taking-
for it looks you all over for a second. It doesn't seem to be hostile or aggressive. Looks you all over for a second. Oh god, that was wrong of me. I opened a window I shouldn't have.
Uh-oh.
I just got flooded by the notification noises of every single dice roll we've had so far. Ow.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
That's been a few.
Yeah, it hurt. It was loud. I'm sorry. Anyways, so the wolf looks you all over for a second. I thought I smelled an intruder, but you made short work of it, I see.
Yes, well, that's us.
How big
Excellent
is this
test controls,
creature?
sir.
You are Katana, being 12 foot tall, is about at eye level with this wolf. It's almost the same size as the frost behemoth you just fought.
And where the hell have you been?
I was making my way here, but it took me some time to cross the distance.
Oh, hold on, friend. What... If we hadn't have killed that thing, you would have done it?
I would have, or at least I certainly would have tried. It is my
Zandel
duty.
releases a very deep sigh.
So you're protecting this place.
I am Fenrir. It is my duty to guard this glacier, to patrol the wilds it consists of, in the event of hostilities.
Where were you when it showed up?
He sort of jerks his head to the side. On the other side of this pyramid, prowling and hunting for food. I didn't realize the behemoth was here until airships started falling like flies.
Right.
How big is this pyramid?
It's
Big.
it's sizable. Like it's like the size of like a small mountain almost. Like this is the sort of thing you would spend a good few hours or more trying to climb if you were just scaling the surface.
And it took you... Eh.
It has been a very, very long time since mortal feet set foot on this glacier. For what purpose have you come here?
Was it Crystal of Shiva?
Fenrir stalks closer towards you and sniffs at you all for a second.
Varl's ears twitch.
You say you come searching for the crystal, yet you bear none of the others. You are not the ones I was instructed to greet.
Hmm. Who are the ones you're supposed to greet?
A group of individuals appointed by Ramu to gather the crystals and keep them safe.
Oh, what? Can't there be more than one group of heroes?
He eyes you all for a second.
We just fought a behemoth. Don't give us that look.
He's right, you know.
I do not mean offense, but you must understand, the threat we face reaches far beyond that of a mere behemoth.
Oh, don't. I'm done. I'm not. Okay, I'm just gonna go sit over here and not deal with your dumbass.
Sort of tilts aside a bit as you're going by.
Can we at least see the crystal?
Or perhaps you could reward us in some way.
I can tell you its location, but without the explicit orders of Shiva herself, I cannot take you to it. He turns and thrusts his nose upwards. Were one to follow the pyramid ever further, they would find the crystal at its summit, where Shiva herself presides over it. And as her faithful hound, I make sure that only those who are worthy find it.
Wait. So how are we gonna get back to let them know where it's at? Our airship crashed. So far, I don't think we have any means of, communicating to get back into a ship.
God damn it, Kenneth. Fenrir turns towards you, Katana. I may be of some assistance in that regard. There is another not far whom I can reach out to. She can bear you all safely back to the mainland.
Oh, I do remember the mainland being warmer.
Your airships crashed here, yes?
Yeah.
Disastrously so.
They're survivors. I don't know how many people survived.
There's a captain out in the woods somewhere, I think.
Possibly. I don't know. I lost track of him once I hit a fucking tree.
Very well then. He seems to think it over for a second before lowering his belly down to the ground and then sort of nodding backwards. Hop on. I can return you to where you crashed, and from there, get you aid in returning back.
If Katana's eye level with him, can she actually ride him with us?
Yeah, like she would actually be able to like full on ride him like a horse, while the rest of you would kind of have to cling for dear life onto his side, while Kupog would just kind of like hold onto his tail or something. However you want to position yourselves, but yeah, Katana can fit on him. I mean, if you're eye level with a wolf, you'd probably be able to ride the wolf, because
Yeah.
scale there.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So is everyone mounting up? Any other questions or things they want to ask first?
Yeah, I ain't got nothing. Varl just sort of sits, I guess, towards the back or whatever, and he's just sort of muttering and thinking to himself. And he's like, I'm just the extra in someone else's heroic story.
Yeah, that's all we are. Our job is just go find shit, find it out, and be handing it to them on a platter. Like, here you go.
Just for playing up the sense of scale, I jump multiple times like a teeny little flea, and I end up on top of his head. And I just like find a nice little fluffy spot and sit down.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, once everyone is situated, Fenrir rises back to his full height, turns, and before any of you even really have a chance to realize it, he's suddenly bounding straight down the slopes of the pyramid. His claws started digging into the sides before kicking off at high speeds, and he is remarkably swift. Like, all of you are kind of taken aback and sort of have to hold on for dear life as he goes just bounding rapidly down the sides. It's only a matter of minutes before he reaches the base of the pyramid that you spent so long climbing and worms his way through the jagged terrain and the occasional copses of trees, soon finding the trench left by your airship when it crashed and following it to the crash site. He slows down a bit as he's drawing closer so as not to alarm the survivors, and as you're drawing closer, you can see that those who survived the crash have started to sort of pile out of the airship. There have been some rudimentary shelters set up. There looks to be efforts to gather supplies and tend to wounded. There's just a flurry of movement from the survivors, and you see other larger groups sort of converging on it from not far away, and a large sort of bonfire has been erected in the middle of the makeshift campsite, sending smoke up into the air. And you get the impression that the survivors from the other crashed airships are convening at this smoke signal. And as Fenrir slows to a halt at the edge of camp, the various other individuals there, the survivors sort of taken aback and withdrawing a bit out of surprise and shock, but seemingly eased a bit by the sight of the rest of you on its back. You look around for a second and there's the captain sort of coming forward, looking beat to shit but alive.
Oh, good. You survived.
Yes, I did. It was a near thing. What's with the, my name is Fenrir. Oh. You speak. Fenrir sort of crouches down and lets you all hop off at your leisure.
Emphasis on
Well,
hop.
Yeah.
Well, we
Boing.
found the crystal everyone's been we're going to be looking. The others are going to be looking for, I guess, or he knows where it is.
Indeed I do, and I have told you its location.
I'll let our lore fanatic repeat where that location is, because he's the one that knows the things.
Zendel?
Nah.
Fenrir said that the crystal was at the top of the pyramid, presided over by Shiva herself.
Yeah. All right.
So I assume you relay that information?
Yep, I would do that.
All right. So you let the captain know this, and he nods. Well, good to know that this trip wasn't a total waste, then. Got what we came for, even with the cost. He looks off towards the airship. Then Fenrir speaks up. You need not worry about being stranded here. I have someone I can reach out to who can help you. Really? And who's that? Fenrir just grins and then turns and walks off a few steps. Then sort of lowers his chest down to the ground, throws his head back, and lets out this long, loud howl that pierces and goes far and far off into the distance.
Varl's ears are immediately flat on his head.
All right. And a few seconds pass before nothing seems to happen at first. And then you feel the ground beneath you starting to shake just a little bit.
Oh.
And then, not far away, the glacier, the ice that the glacier is consisted of, suddenly splits and breaks, and this colossal blue serpent rises up, gargantuan in scale, dwarfing even the airship you were on in both length and width. When it eventually stops looking down at you, these long wing-like fins sort of unfolding from its sides, you don't need a lore check to recognize this as Leviathan, the goddess of the oceans, and the messenger. Self-appointed. She looks down at Fenrir.
So how do we get back?
Well, hold on. Leviathan looks down at Fenrir. You summoned me? He nods. Indeed I did. For one thing, the time for the glacier to stand still has come. But more than that, he then looks back to the rest of you. These individuals who found this place need to be escorted back to their own lands. I see. This can be done with ease. I trust you will see to Shiva? I will. Very well. Leviathan then looks down at the rest of you and sort of leans past Fenrir as he starts to head back off towards the pyramid. Are you well enough to travel at least a short distance?
Sure.
Deal?
And the others? And she looks past all of you to the assembled survivors. The captain speaks up at this point. Most of the worst injuries have been treated and taken care of. We should be able to go a short ways. Why? Where do you want us to go? Leviathan looks off to the east and south. A short ways that way, you will find a shore leading to a lake. I can manifest more completely there. Gather on the shore, and I can bear you back through the waters.
Okay.
She looks down at the rest of you,
Sounds like a
nods, and then disappears back into the hole she made in the glacier. There's this sort of odd silence that follows as it sort of dawns on everyone behind you and even on you that you just met and talked to a goddess. A literal goddess, and she was remarkably casual about the whole thing. Everyone's kind of
Goop
looking.
boggers.
Everyone's kind of looking amongst themselves with this sort of like, did that really happen? You know, kind of atmosphere of confusion and surprise. I'm not really sure what to make of that interaction going around. Captain gives a little nod and turns back to the rest of you. Right. Well, if there's anything else you all wish to do, now's the time. I'm gonna start getting these people towards that shore.
Yeah.
So does characters with lore everything have passion for stories and writing? Is that a thing? Is that how that works?
Or everything just
Kind
means
of.
he's a walking encyclopedia. He just knows shit.
My guy Zandel, he grew up like in a library, so he's just constantly had access to so much information. So he just knows a little bit about everything, more or less.
And well, we only just met you, and you were writing information in a book and reading books before all this crap went down, right?
Yes. He's taking notes, trying to do his own research, add his
Okay.
name to the library and whatnot.
Close enough. So Varl, as they're, I guess everybody starts to make their way towards the aforementioned lake, he just sort of leans over to Zandel and's like, I don't know if you write stories to add to that long list of stuff that you know, but maybe at least write about this one.
Oh, yes. There will definitely be a substantial entry in my memoirs.
Yeah. Then on to the lake, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so you all follow the rest of the people a short ways. Eventually, after a 30-minute or so walk, the terrain begins to slope down and smooth out, and before long the ice sort of gets clear of obstructions into this sort of half-crescent shape around this sort of lake that sort of spills out into the ocean through a tiny little channel a ways off further. And you can already see that Leviathan is waiting for you, having risen up from the water at the shore and is just waiting for everyone to show up.
Back to the mainland we go, I suppose.
Yep.
Right, so, as you're all sort of gathering at the edge of the shore, with a lot of people still sort of quietly looking up at Leviathan and with shock and awe and wonder in their eyes, Leviathan looks down at everyone. It's hard to tell with her reptilian face, but you get the impression she is smiling. Before she sort of backs off a bit, and where she had been sort of rising up from the water, a whirlpool begins to form in its place, and she nods gently down at it. Step in when you are ready. The current will bear you back, unharmed.
This feels very Chrono Trigger. I'll jump in.
You're just jumping in?
Xandil's ready.
I will not be out-jumped. I will jump in after him.
All right, so first the scholar jumps in, and then the Moogle just jumps in after him.
Kerpow.
Just like that. Yep.
A few sort of surprised guests like, did they really just do that? From the crowd behind you.
Like, how did... It's like... How long is it gonna take?
Leviathan looks down at you. It will not be the shortest of journeys. Perhaps 20 minutes to reach your destination, but you need not concern for your breath. The way is lined with air for you.
Okay. She jumps in.
All right. And that just leaves Varl, who I'm just realizing is probably going last because Mithra, averse to water.
Yes. Varl sort of looks back to the crowd, sees the whirlpool of water, and his tail does that like agitated cat twitch thing. And then he jumps in.
All right. And like other people are starting to jump in at that time. Like there's just something in the way Leviathan is, speaking and assuring them that is making everyone just like trust that she's on the up and up, and she's known to be, she's one of the good gods. There's only like one evil god in the whole setting, so everyone's just kind of trusting her implicitly. So I'll start jumping in, and the moment you hit the water, it is this strange feeling. It's almost like you're starting to sort of black out and lose awareness from time to time as you are first pulled down through the whirlpool, and while it's very firm and there's not really any strength you could muster to stand against it, it's not harsh. It's very precise and guided. And after the spiraling is complete, you sort of get pushed down, again firmly but gently, into this perfectly cylindrical tunnel that has just been opened in the water of air, allowing you to see into the open ocean around you without having to worry about drowning. And the second you pop down, gravity just seems to stop working, and you're pulled slowly at first into the center of this tunnel before, once you are in a central position and spaced out safely from everyone else, you begin to pick up speed, but you don't feel any G-forces on your body. It's as if your position is changing, but you're not moving, if that makes any sense. As you're rushing by, looking off to the sides, you can see entire underwater mountain ranges and formations and coral reefs and ecosystems shooting by you, turning into these lashing blurs every second that passes as you go rocketing forward. And it's not long before you've completely lost track of where the hell you are relative to everything else, as you're just going and going and going. And true enough to Leviathan's words, within 10 minutes, the tunnel begins to curve upwards and you start to decelerate and lose speed. And the whole way you've been hearing like a mixture of like panicked screams or odd explanations, and even the occasion like woohoo from the people behind you as they're dragged along through. And before long, the tunnel curves upwards and you start to decelerate and you start to see the pale, icy blue sort of coral reefs that tend to hug the northernmost shores of the first Enoan continent. Before you see the land starting to slope up and up and up closer to the surface. Tunnel of water bringing you higher up until you're moving at about the same speed as a regular walk. You feel this sort of pulse in your chest and in your whole bodies, and the sensation of changing location without physically moving immediately ends, and you are back into physical motion, feeling momentum and inertia sort of carrying you forward those last few feet before the bottoms of your feet touch onto the sand under the water, and you slip out of the effects of the portal about 6 feet below the surface, just off the northern coast.
Wait, 6 feet under the water?
Yeah. So, Katana, you're just kind of popping and your waist is above it and you're just like, and you just kind of fall forward into it. Because giant.
Yeah.
It's not. Yes.
So we're underwater.
Yeah, like you're not very far underwater. It'll only take a couple seconds of swimming upwards to breach the surface.
Okay. So yeah, Varl had his eyes closed throughout this whole thing, partly because I the player was not here, and partly because that's funny to me. So he sort of tumbles to a stop and then will very quickly, keeping his eyes tightly closed, try to discern which way is up to get out of water.
Okay. And it doesn't take you long necessarily. You have this natural instinct of fuck water, leave it, that helps you discern where to go.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you quickly,
How buoyant am I?
swim up, and as a moment later, your head breaks through the surface, and you can smell the briny salt water and taste the fresh air on your lips. It's refreshing, but you'd rather it be dry.
Yep. Out of water, onto sand crawl.
Yep. So yeah, everyone starts to pull themselves out of the ocean, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yep, kind of.
How hard is this to do for our 1 foot tall noodle?
Well, he
That's
has
what I was
wings,
asking.
so those sort of act as natural fins. So it's not too terribly hard. Once he sort of breaches the surface of the water, he just kind of flies above it. And takes a couple minutes, but before long, all of the survivors from the expedition have hauled themselves back onto the shore, looking around.
The one who has the most dramatic reaction to the water is the feline. Makes sense.
Yeah. There's a lot of excited and relieved chattering going around, Odd exclamations of disbelief of, having did we really just do that? That was incredible. We just saw a goddess and she sent us flying hundreds of miles, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but here's the next question. Where in the hell are we?
Well, go ahead and make for me a nature check to see if you can discern your current location.
I don't have a nature, so it's just a 2d6. 3.
You have no fucking idea. You look
Great,
around. So
you
you
just
look.
dumped us in the middle of nowhere.
You look around for a second. It's like, huh, those are mountains to the north. That's beach to the east and west, or rather,
You
mountains to the
believe
south. It's like
You believe that there might be water nearby.
It's like, there's water to the north, there's mountains to the south, there's beach and open grasslands heading east and west. I have no idea where the fuck any of that is. What do I look like, a cartographer?
This looks like every
So,
stretch of beach I've ever seen.
If
Yeah,
someone else
feel
wants
like-
to make a better nature check.
We're in the middle of nowhere. This is great.
What's nature check for our red mage here?
Non-existent,
I don't
actually.
Okay,
think any of us have
fine.
nature.
Alright, 8.
8.
So, a couple of 8s. Well, alright. It isn't exactly hard, and like, frickin' Zandel would get like a +4 because he's from this region.
Oh.
Or like near it at least. As you're all kind of looking around, Kupog and Varl, you quickly piece together like, oh wait, hang on a second. This is like, you sort of peer up into the mountains, and before long you're able to point out and spot there is the Academy City way up there, the place you launched from. You're at the base of the mountain it sits on, but you can see it from here, a ways off. It'll be a couple days hike to reach it though.
So Varl sort of shakes and twitches a little bit and sort of like does that whole cartoon thing of like hit at one ear to get water out of other ear. Nah.
Yeah.
And then looks up is good Academy way up there, or Academy City rather, way up there.
Zandel spins around excitedly. Where?
Points up mountain that way.
I look up and I'm like, friends. We must get back up there immediately. We will have a
Varl
great
is
feast to
currently-
celebrate.
Varl is currently just sitting in the sand.
He said, oh, come. We can warm ourselves by the fire if we get there.
It is a couple days hike.
Yes.
Well, I have the distinct suspicion that we're not going to have any complications to get there, so let's go.
All right.
And
Are there
Zandel
any
starts going. Oh, go on.
I was about to say, are there any other interactions anyone else wants to have there on the shore? Kabog, maybe?
Nah.
Okay. All right, and so it's not long
We
before
do-
everyone. Go ahead.
We do another one of those things of D&D, the game in which it can take you 3 hours to do a 6-second combat, or 3 seconds to do a 15-day hike. Let's go.
Right. Yeah, something like that. Either way, so
Yeah.
with all of that squared away, you begin the ascent up the Mages Mountains heading for the Academy City, with the other survivors sort of gathering their shit and following closely along. It takes a while. Your pace is a little slowed because of the the other survivors, but it isn't terribly long, about 3 days travel before you make your arrival at the Academy City. And hold on one second, because there's actually something I need to double check really quick in regards to that. There's like
Oh, boy.
timeline-wise, because you guys are right there.
We get to see the actual player party or something.
No,
Wanna hear?
they're not actually there for a while yet. Like, they aren't actually there in the main game yet. They're kind of loitering. But anyway, so yeah.
I mean, that's what players. That's fine.
So yeah, they got delayed on the way back. But either way, so it's not too terribly long before you're coming up to the empty, featureless walls of the Academy City. And You all had to pass through these walls at one point or another, but Zandel, being the resident of this location out of all of you, is going to have to take point. So because I know how this shit works, and I forgot to discuss it with David because I did not anticipate we would have enough free time to actually do this part, I figured we would just, like, end with you guys showing up on the shore, but we still got, like, at least 10 minutes. I figured, what the hell, why not?
We still got like 30 minutes if you wanted to.
Well, we wanted to, but I don't have enough shit to justify that.
Fair enough.
Like, I've already had to make up, like, many things to justify how long we've been going. Like the whole tunnel sequence, I had to make that up on the spot. Anyway.
I didn't see any of it.
Right,
I'll see it later.
Yeah, so Zandel, sort of looking at it. I hope you don't mind if I take over for a sec.
Only as long as Zandel is leading everyone to the nicest restaurant he knows.
Right, well, as it is, you
Food.
make your way up to the wall, and there are no walls, no gates, rather, in the walls of the Academy City. Were one to walk around the entire outer perimeter of the city, they would find no discernible entrances. And there's this colossal magical dome, kind of like the barrier around the Crystal Empire in MLP, that keeps the snow and the bad weather out, emerging from various towers along the edges of the walls that all glow with these bright blue runes. So, to an outside observer looking in, there is no entrance, unless you know where to look. And after a few minutes, you find this empty spot on the wall, and you lift a hand up, and you put it to the surface. And a second later, the wall begins to rumble and shift, and this big face made of rock pushes out through the bricks and the stonework, glowing blue eyes focusing down on you, Zandel, and recognizing you immediately. Zandel Morkheim, you are recognized. You may enter.
Fantastic.
And it
Thanks,
recedes,
buddy.
It recedes back, and this pitch black archway rises up. And stepping through, it's only a few seconds of disorientation before you just blink, and you have entered into one of the entrance regions of the city, just seemingly teleported there. And not long after,
The teleport.
yep, a second later, the other party members, I'm assuming, and the other survivors start zoning in right next to you in these little flickers of pale blue light.
Yep.
You are now in the streets of the Academy City. Gray stone buildings with this sort of really tightly packed and compressed architecture, kind of vertical, blue tiled roofs largely, and a faint, gentle dusting of snow from those tinier flakes that the barrier deemed too insignificant to block that wormed their way through. Kind of like a gentle coating of salt on everything. At present, the streets are quiet, and Zandel, you know this is because class is in session right now. Almost everyone is either at the main central university, this colossal towering structure that seems to wrap around the rest of the city from the middle like a giant pair of wings hugging something, or in some of the smaller university buildings scattered throughout. You say you are leading them to the best restaurant you know?
Hell yeah, I am.
Very well. Then you are leading them to an establishment I do not immediately remember the name of, but it does have... Well, I'll just describe it. You all follow Zandel through the streets for a while, or at least the main group does. The survivors are sort of scattering to do their own thing while the captain is heading up to the Central University to report the success of the mission, along with the remnants of his crew. But you lead your newfound friends through the streets for a few minutes, before eventually you come to a living district where the buildings are a little shorter, a little homier, a little less elaborate. And you find a restaurant tucked up against one of the corners, very fine place, and immediately you're hit with a wave of nostalgia, while the rest of you are just like, the hell is this place? It's got these really nice sort of spherical lamps hanging in the windows, providing gentle orange illumination to the outside. And it's got this very warm glow shining out through the windows. It's just very inviting against the otherwise cold mountaintop temperature.
Have any of us ever been here other than Zendel?
Katana
Go
is
ahead
just
and-
outside.
What was that?
Katana is just outside.
Okay. As for Kupog and Varl, it would be very unlikely, but I'll say you have been here if you want to have been here, or if you want to be surprised, then no.
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
All right. So then, you have not been here before then. So you're not sure what's so special about this place. And I will just send the reason why it is special to David so that he can have that to himself.
Fair enough. Okay, so
Right, now.
this place is supposed to have good food then?
Now, I will let you guys discuss that in character for just a second, because I need to be right back and pee. My batter's about to burst.
So we were supposed to find good food here, was that it?
Best food in the city, I tell you.
And I'm assuming the doorway's not big enough for Katana.
Of course not. Do you know the size of that door?
Right. So, for sake of having something to say with the fact that our game master is gone currently, Varl is going to get whatever food there is, and then for himself, and then just sort of shrug, and he is going to go outside and sit to eat with Katana. And if she says anything about what sort of food she would want, he would go and get it. But then again, whatever sort of plates and trays and things they would have to eat off of would be like finger food to her. So, not sure how that would work. But he's going to go out and sit, and he is going to go out and sit with his party member since she can't go inside.
Zandel's going to sit at the counter, and he's going to order a hot chocolate and an omelet.
It's an interesting combo.
I'm back.
It's his favorite.
What'd I
Hot
miss?
chocolate and an omelet.
Yep.
Trying to figure out what kind of food Katana can have while being outside.
Varl, while you were gone, Varl went to get food for himself and possibly Katana if she could figure out what she would want. And then he is going to sit outside with his companion since she can't go inside.
All right, fair enough. Well then, when you step inside, is everyone else going with, or just him?
I went in, so
Okay.
I'm getting hot chocolate and an omelet.
All right. 1 second.
I suppose I'd go in to eat as well.
All right. So, kind of follow Zandel in, and you look towards the counter, and there's no one there. You don't see anyone. But Zandel, you know better.
Yeah. I walk up, I take a seat at the counter, give it up. Hey, Puck, get on out here. You got guests.
There's not really any seats. It's, so there's like a seating podium, but you come up, you sort of knock on the side, and you say that, and a moment later, the rest of you came in here, this the little wet slaps of moist feet on hard floor, as from behind the podium, coming out of a door that you presume leads into like a kitchen area, you see this little green creature, a tonberry with a tall ass chef's hat meandering out.
Oh, great.
And the
Roll initiative.
and the
Don't you
tonberry,
dare.
yeah, and the tonberry looks up, blinks a couple of times, tilts its head. Zandel,
Yes.
you
I'm
brought
back from my
friends.
expedition. Yeah, well, we've had a rough time. I thought they could use some of your cooking.
I see. Very well. We always have space for the Red Archmage's son.
Give a little bow.
Do you have
Speaking
a
of which, we should put this on my father's tab. I think we're going to order a lot.
Very well.
Varl
Just-
sort of tilts his head, looking at Zendel, and's like, "Are you some sort of royalty or something?"
Not royalty per se, but perhaps something a little bit better.
Zandel Morkheim is the son of the Arch Red Mage here in the Academy, who is also the head historian.
Gotcha. Okay.
This is all while they're inside, right?
Yeah, so Katana isn't hearing any of this.
Is there a window?
Sure. Yeah, there's a
There
bunch of
should
front
be.
windows, and we could say one of them's open, so yeah, you can hear this.
It's probably summertime.
It's just like, yeah, it's just like.
It's
I was
like
just
late
sitting
summer,
there
but yeah.
Trying to look inside.
So Zendel mentioned that we would be probably getting a lot of food, and then Varl is just going to sort of point towards the window to help the Tomberry chef realize that that and the giant Galkin might be the reason why we would need a lot of food.
Puck follows your finger, blinks a
Waves.
couple of times, tilts his head the other way. That is new.
Not wrong.
There's no motion to him.
He's very blunt. He gives a little nod. Very well.
Meanwhile, on the side of the counter, there's a teeny tiny Moogle. Ba-doop.
That is also new. For the sake of brevity, he takes your orders, and I'm assuming that the Moogle and the Red Mage, who are going to want to eat inside, or is everyone going to want to eat outside, so everyone's all together?
I mean, if they put a table up to the window and a window's open, you can all just.
Hanging at the window seats, yeah.
That would work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds
Sure.
like a good idea.
Yeah, that's kind of awkward, but sure. So for the sake of expediency, we'll sort of skim over the ordering a little bit.
Either way, Varl will still be outside even if they're on a window seat, so it's a touch less awkward. Half the party's inside, out, and the other half's outside the window.
Indeed. So before long, you've all got some really great smelling meals in your possession. You're all getting situated as it's getting on towards evening after this truly incredible day you've had. And I will just let you guys have whatever conversations you like before we close it out.
Don't we have to go tell someone?
I think the captain went to do that already.
Oh.
Yeah, the captain did go to notify the people who organized the whole search that the mission was a success, albeit with heavy losses. And then those who participated, your group in particular, will be compensated later once you present yourselves for it.
Right.
We can say
Okay.
that, like, you told the captain, like, we'll go get our reward later. We want lunch.
I think that's reasonable. all things
She
considered.
eats 4 meals worth.
Okay.
Just, spend money that is apparently Zendel's father's?
Oh yeah, he can afford it. Don't worry.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
and for what it's worth, Varl is not necessarily outside just for sake of wanting to sit with friends because we have window seats. Varl's wanting to sit and eat outside because he wants to eat in the open air. After all the craziness that's went through and being cold and being in the water, Varl wants to see sky.
I mean, again, it was a few days hike
that's-
to get back up here, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, but still.
Koopa,
He just
I
got
don't
glad to sit down outside.
I don't know what exactly would constitute the meal that I'd be eating, but I would be eating it with only a knife. I would skewer little pieces and eat it off of the knife blade.
Okay. Fair enough, yeah.
You want to be an edgy little dude, even though you're adorable.
Yes.
That's kind of been his whole shtick since it started, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you guys have any conversations you want to have, go for it.
Don't think so. Burrow's not got anything anyway.
All right. Well then,
Yeah.
if that be the case for everyone,
Yeah.
Thinking so.
then in that case, as you all start to sort of wind down after the huge and interesting adventure that you unexpectedly had, working through a very nice dinner among new friends that you may or may not continue to travel with, our view sort of pulls back, and that is where this little adventure will come to a close.
Coupagers.
So, yeah. Kind of an interesting little conclusion. Didn't quite end how I was expecting because we had more time than I thought we would because I forgot to make the behemoth immune to poison.
Hey, here's a question for you.
Yeah?
Would the zombie effect have possibly worked on him?
Well, I mean, it would have, probably. Yeah, why?
Because then we could have just Phoenix downed him, and that fight would have been more or less short.
I don't, I wouldn't have allowed that one.
That is in every damn Final Fantasy.
That would constitute as an instant kill move.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I get it.
bosses
The
are
boss-
and bosses and end bosses are immune to instant kill moves. So
President
So what
Deli
you're
in
saying-
Final Fantasy VIII disagrees.
So what you're saying is that casting zombie and then using a Phoenix down on him multiple times is casting death on him, which we established at the beginning of the fight deals massive amounts of damage.
pretty
Yes,
much.
that's
I
right.
would have still let it do a bunch of damage. I wouldn't have had it be a kill move though.
I cast regen
so-
on the boss.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
That's a
sure.
good idea. I like that.
Yeah, that would have worked too.
Just because regen is 20%.
Combine that with poison. Oh man.
He would have been just. We wouldn't have been hurt. Frankly.
He
If
would
we
have
could've worked that at
died
the
in like
start.
2 rounds because that's 45% of his HP at the start of all of his turns.
Literally, all you have to do is just run away from him until he drops.
Jesus Christ.
That was sort of the angle I was going with Kupog. I was thinking you mess him up, you get him to really dislike you, and then just hope that you can stand there stoically and he drops before you do.
Well, all that aside, we can keep chatting about this after the recording is stopped, but thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in. I'll be sure to send this along to the main group. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you back in the main game. Toodaloo!